Peter, first to you, your home state. Liberals still quietly optimistic of pulling off an upset tonight?
They're certainly in the hunt. We'll say they're in the hunt. It's a good seat if they were going to make a move and take a position off Labor in a first-term Labor government, obviously. It is Victoria, though, and the Liberal infrastructure, certainly at a state level, is not as good as it could be. There's a lot of legacy issues with the Liberal Party in Victoria, but I think Peter Dutton resonates in this seat. I mean, if you look at where this seat sits in terms of demographics and income and all of those things against the national average, it is absolutely squarely middle Australia. And both sides are throwing everything at it. I think the swing's on. It's how big the swing is.
Andrew, as Peter alluded to, that this is heartland, working class Australia. Carrum Downs, one of the suburbs, Redbridge polling suggested 80% of mortgage holders are in negative cash flow right now. It's a tough time for a lot of them.
Well, what I can tell you tonight, Kieran, is that Labor hasn't been behind in the polling here, but it has narrowed. So they were 52-48, as we revealed on Sunday Agenda a few weeks back. The last poll they did just over a week ago, I'm told, 50.5, on the brink of losing this seat. And so if the voters are in a particular mood today, or were today, that's going to be it in terms of Labor retaining this seat. So if you're putting your house on it, you would say Labor scrape over the line, but it depends on the sentiment, the mood of voters today, and I guess how well both parties went on the booze.
Steve,
that tight.
As Andrew said, there's definitely a sense from both sides that things narrowed in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
No question. I think both Peter and Andrew, I agree with almost everything they said. I mean, this is a seat that, Victoria's not a great seat for Peter Dutton, but this is a seat that's great for Peter Dutton, even though it's in Victoria. The demographics, it's got, absolutely the sort of territory Peter Dutton needs if he wants to win an election without having to try and win back too many of those Teal seats. So this is an important signal, whether the Dutton approach is resonating with those key seats. And I'd agree with Andrew's mail. I think it has narrowed substantially. I think the Labor team are nervous tonight.
And what is interesting about that is when they changed the tax cuts package, initially they got the bump, the response, I guess, but then it's come back. And you wonder how across the electorate, especially when you look at the national polls, is that the case as well? And this is a big test in terms of whether it was worth breaking that promise, it has to be said.
Peter, talking to various Liberal people the last couple of days, while there's the optimism, there's also a sense that it's a tough ask. The primary last election was 32.5. The view is they've got to get well over 40% primary to be a chance.
And of course, you've got the Greens in the race. They were 10% of the vote last year, the primary vote. Animal justice will feature again. It's actually doing quite well in Victoria. Will it play out in the outer suburbs like it does in the inner city? I'm not so sure. It was nearly 3% last time round. I think what's hopeful for the Libs in this race is that there is no one nation, no Palmer candidate. They were 8% of the vote in 2022. Now, that is generally my people cranky at the incumbent in Scott Morrison and not able to vote for Labor. So will that 8% come back and sit inside the Liberal Party?
Surely.
Well, you'd want to hope it does,
Surely.
Otherwise they're in trouble. I mean, this is
why it's a tight race.
This is a terrific test for the Liberal Party. They'll want to swing out of it. Of course, they'll want to win too. But this is a terrific test to say, are their campaign messaging, is the strategy landing where it needs to land for them to form government in the not too distant future?
And it would be a wake-up call.
Just on that, can I just say, I want to
please.
say too, though, people are saying to me it's very polite on the booths. It doesn't get a sense of baseball bats. Whether that's material or whether people are just more polite now than they've ever been, I don't know, but that's certainly been put through to me today.
Yeah, it's interesting.